This movie is about an ordinary middle-class man who, after his new marriage, wants to get closer to his wife, but his family doesn't let him. So, let's get straight to the movie. The film begins with Shukla, an auto driver, sitting in his auto. His auto is decorated with pictures of Sonakshi Sinha all around. It's as if his entire world revolves around that face. Shukla is watching videos on his mobile phone and smiling slightly. Suddenly, a stranger gets into his auto. He asks Shukla to go to Sion, another part of Mumbai, but Shukla initially refuses, fearing he won't find any passengers on his way back. But when the man tempts Shukla with extra money for the return journey, Shukla reluctantly agrees. Shukla takes the passenger to his destination, Sion, and tells him the fare is 175 rupees. The passenger says he's a little short, to which Shukla says it's okay. But the man insists that he'll pay him his full amount, saying he just got the money from his apartment. He assures Shukla that he'll definitely be back. Shukla waits. But when a considerable amount of time passes, he dejectedly sits down at a tea stall and asks for tea. The tea vendor, who is always familiar with the area, asks Shukla, "Did that man cheat you too?" Shukla initially doesn't understand, but then the tea vendor tells him that the man lures auto drivers here, pretending to be ill with his mother, and often flees after taking the money. Hearing this, Shukla's eyes fill with despair, and he stands on the road, staring at the building where the man had gone. That night, Shukla is drinking beer with his friends on the rooftop of a chawl. His friends mock him, saying, "You're getting married, and your life will be ruined." They ask Shukla, "Do you know what to do on your wedding night?" Shukla replies, "I've seen enough blue films, so I'll do it." They tell him, "Being a Brahmin, that's why you haven't touched a girl before." Shukla becomes enraged, asking, "What's wrong with that? If I respect a girl and don't look at her with impure eyes?" Shukla tells them, "I won't let any of you even look at my wife." A few days later, Shukla marries a beautiful girl, Lakshmi. His mother welcomes Lakshmi into the house, where Shukla and Lakshmi are seated on a throne. All the children of the Chola family come into the small house to see the new bride and admire her. Shukla's mother scolds the children and sends them out. Shukla's mother tells Shukla that his marriage has broken our backs and asks Lakshmi to bring a glass of water. Lakshmi, with her head bowed, goes to fetch water. Shukla watches this, a slight hint of displeasure evident in his eyes. He tells his mother that he's new here, and as soon as he arrives, Shukla's mother, a rather rude and vulgar woman, starts making him work. She says, "If you feel bad, you go get the water." This implies no shame or hesitation in asking Lakshmi to do chores on her first day. Lakshmi brings water, and Shukla's mother again assigns her a task, make tea. Lakshmi nods and goes into the kitchen. Shukla's father sits down to watch his favorite TV show, and Shukla's mother also sits next to him. It seems as if watching TV is their primary and most important task. Meanwhile, Lakshmi is trying to make tea in the kitchen for the first time, a look of hesitation and newness clearly visible on her face. Shukla sees Lakshmi here, alone. His mother should have been helping her. But she's not even moving from the TV. At night, Shukla stands in front of the mirror, preparing himself for his wedding night. He holds a packet of stamina enhancer, which he gently places in his pocket, and begins combing his hair. A look of curiosity about that night is evident on Shukla's face. But here again, Shukla's parents are engrossed in the TV. He makes some excuse to go to the TV, but his mother shoos him away. Shukla, mildly irritated, asks, "Doesn't anyone want to sleep?" His mother, stroking his face, says, "If you're feeling sleepy, go and sleep." Shukla asks, "Then why did you get married at all?" Shukla's mother says, "You won't die in 2 days, because the priest said it's not the auspicious time for the wedding night yet." Shukla gets angry and lying on the mat says that one day I will break this TV. Shukla falls asleep after a while, and 2 days later at night, Shukla and Lakshmi are lying together. Shukla looks at Lakshmi with loving eyes and a strange intimacy is visible in his eyes. Lakshmi is also looking at him. A little nervous, a little hesitant. Shukla slowly extends his hand towards her as if he wants to touch her at that moment. Shukla caresses Lakshmi's stomach, and as he moves his hand upwards, Lakshmi suddenly sits up with a scream. Hearing the scream, the whole house wakes up. Shukla's mother asks what happened. Lakshmi, flustered, simply says nothing. But Shukla's mother suspects her son. She looks at Shukla angrily, as if to say, "This boy must have done something." Then she tells her husband, "You sleep with Shukla, and Lakshmi will stay with me." Shukla watches the entire incident silently. The next morning, Shukla's parents are sitting in front of the TV again, as if nothing has happened. Shukla is sipping tea and watching Lakshmi, and Lakshmi is still a little uneasy. Just then, there's the sound of someone coming to the gate. Someone's knocking on the door. But Shukla's parents are so engrossed in the TV that they don't hear anything. Shukla gets up angrily and opens the gate. His sister, Rupa, is standing at the door. She comes in with an angry expression on her face and bursts into tears. She's trying to hold back tears, but not a single one falls. Shukla stares at her in surprise, and Rupa replies, "You should have seen the house once before sending me there," and then criticizes her husband, Sunil, saying he's a slave to his mother who doesn't listen to her at all. Shukla asks, "What's wrong, Rupa?" Rupa explains that her mother-in-law taunts her daily for not having a child yet, and this time, her husband, Sunil, even slapped her. Shukla gently tries to explain that a sister or daughter feels better in her own home, that is, her in-law's home. But Shukla's mother becomes enraged. She won't go back to that hell, she says, "I'm not from a low caste. I'm a Brahmin. That's why we won't live under such oppression. Until Sunil buys his own house, my daughter won't go there at all." Shukla says, "Okay," and Lakshmi silently watches the family drama unfold in the house early in the morning. The entire family settles down to watch TV again, mother, father, Lakshmi, and Rupa. Meanwhile, Rupa tells Lakshmi, "I have a severe headache. Make a cup of tea," and this is such a sister-in-law that she can't even call her brother's wife, sister-in-law. Lakshmi quietly gets up and goes to the kitchen, where Shukla is getting ready for work and is also irritated by the atmosphere in the house. As he leaves, Shukla glances up at Lakshmi standing there, watching him. Shukla looks at her and walks away. Shukla comes and takes the keys from the auto rickshaw owner, who is still on vacation. The man jokes with Shukla, "Please remove Sonakshi's photo now. Bobby will be angry," and without a word, Shukla sets off to earn his daily living. Throughout the day, he receives many passengers, preoccupied with their own problems. But Shukla is a calm man. He doesn't tend to interfere in other people's lives. He simply drives the auto rickshaw quietly. In the evening, he goes to the beach to relax. Meanwhile, Shukla's mother is combing Rupa's hair, or rather, brushing her head. Shukla's father is relaxing nearby. After all, they've been watching TV all day. Just then, Shukla's mother's phone rings. The family realizes it's for Lakshmi. Lakshmi is a little nervous, unsure whether to answer the call or not. But finally, she musters up the courage and picks up the phone. Shukla's mother looks at her angrily. Lakshmi, feeling shy, smiles slightly and responds with, "Yes," and, "Yes," over the phone. Shukla, on the other hand, continues talking. His mother watches the entire conversation intently and is even jealous to see Lakshmi's happiness. Shukla apologizes over the phone, saying, "Forgive me for what happened last night. I didn't know how to touch someone for the first time." Shukla continues apologizing to Lakshmi, but Lakshmi doesn't say anything. Just then, Shukla's mother comes from behind. She snatches the phone from Lakshmi's hand, listens to Shukla's entire conversation, and interrupts, telling him to bring some household items. Shukla panics and, trying to control himself, says he was just coming home on the bus. Shukla's mother hangs up and hands the phone to Lakshmi. Then she taunts him. His son is distraught. But Shukla still smiles, remembering that brief phone conversation. Now he's returning home in an auto rickshaw. But all the way, he's lost in thoughts of Lakshmi. And why wouldn't he? A barber's wedding is a unique experience. It's nighttime, and it's completely silent. Everyone in the house is fast asleep, but the atmosphere feels different because there's a wall made of suitcases between Shukla's parents and Shukla. Shukla turns over and tries to gently wake Lakshmi. Lakshmi is also looking at him, and he slowly reaches out to seduce her. Lakshmi is a little uncomfortable, but she can't refuse Shukla. Meanwhile, Rupa's crying echoes. She suddenly sits up and starts crying so loudly that everyone wakes up, saying she had a nightmare. Shukla and Lakshmi just stare at her. Shukla's mother tries to calm her daughter down. But Rupa continues to cry loudly. Shukla watches for a while. But after a while, Shukla angrily scolds Rupa. Rupa, acting out her drama, lies down. But Shukla's heart is still unfulfilled. In the morning, Shukla is on his way to work as usual when his mother meets her neighbor from upstairs. She says, "Take care of Lakshmi, the three of us are going to the market." Shukla hesitates, thinking happily that perhaps today will be an opportunity to spend time with Lakshmi. But Shukla goes to the market to buy a gift for Lakshmi. First, he considers gifting her undergarments. Then, he considers gifting her a sari. Finally, he stops at a cosmetic shop, where he buys some cosmetics and bangles for Lakshmi. After buying all this, Shukla returns home. He sees Lakshmi sitting with a woman from the neighborhood whom Shukla's mother had left with him. The woman says that her mother told him Shukla would be late, but he came early. Shukla lies, saying that his mother told him to bring Lakshmi. The woman says, "It's good that you came, because she's very shy," and then leaves. Shukla smiles and tells Lakshmi to come downstairs. Lakshmi gets ready and comes downstairs. Shukla takes Lakshmi and leaves. Meanwhile, Shukla takes Lakshmi to a cheap, small hotel. Shukla tells the hotel receptionist that he needs a room for just 2 hours. The receptionist sees Lakshmi and asks, "Who is she?" Shukla replies, "She's my wife." The hotelier asks for 1000 rupees for 2 hours, and Shukla is forced to pay. Shukla pays, and they both go to the room. Lakshmi sits on the bed. Shukla stands there for a moment, then says, "You sit down, I'll be right back." Shukla leaves in an auto to get a gift, returns quickly, and sits quietly beside Lakshmi. After a while, he's at a loss for words. Then he says, "I'll be right back," and goes to the bathroom. Rashmi opens her bag, which contains sketch pens and a book. A faint smile appears on her face. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Shukla rinses his face with water and tries to calm his mind. He then returns and sits quietly beside her. They sit there for a while, unable to initiate a conversation. Finally, Shukla whispers, "Are you feeling scared here?" Lakshmi shakes her head, but still says nothing. Shukla says, "I brought you here just to talk, nothing else, because we can't talk at home." He says, "You're my wife. Nothing wrong will ever happen to you. Soon, I'll buy a separate house so we can live freely." Lakshmi listens silently. Then Shukla takes perfume from his bag and lightly sprays a passenger in his auto. The girl is talking to someone on the phone. Upon reaching their destination, she gives Shukla a 2000 rupee note. Shukla says, "Madam, I don't have change, and you're my first date." The girl gets irritated. "I mean, now I'm following you around," she says, and starts to leave without paying. Shukla panics and says, "Please give me the money. I'll get the change for you." But the girl falsely accuses him of trying to touch her. The cunning girl complains to a man leaving the building, "Uncle, he teased me." The man tells Shukla to leave the building area and doesn't listen to Shukla. Meanwhile, the girl's boyfriend arrives and she also complains to him, "This auto driver was teasing me." The girl leaves with her boyfriend, and Shukla remains silent, saying nothing. He takes the insult and loses his fare. In another scene, Shukla's mother, Lakshmi, and Rupa are buying vegetables. Shukla's mother is teaching Lakshmi how to pick vegetables. Shukla's mother goes off to buy bananas. Rupa and Lakshmi are now together. Rupa asks Lakshmi how their marriage is going. Lakshmi nods and says everything is fine. She asks Lakshmi about her personal life, "Did anything happen between you two?" Lakshmi shakes her head. Rupa reacts loudly to this in front of the vegetable vendor on the street, saying, "Nothing happened between you two," and says, "If I had a husband, he wouldn't have left me alone for a minute." Rupa is discussing her sexual life with Lakshmi when Shukla's mother arrives and tells Lakshmi that she hasn't learned to buy vegetables yet. Uday Shukla stops an auto rickshaw on the road, tears up Sonakshi Sinha's photos, and sits down dejectedly on the side of the road. Then, after a long time, Shukla meets his friends, who are all sitting and drinking. Shukla tells them that you talked about intimacy before marriage, but never told them about the problems that arise after marriage. His friends say, "We're all going through the same things as you." Shukla shares with his friends about his family, his mother's and sister's behavior, and Lakshmi's situation. They provoke him, saying, "You have no courage, and no one listens to you." Shukla, enraged, says, "I'll show you today." Shukla stops his auto rickshaw in the middle of the road and drinks a lot of beer, so much so that he even pours it over his head. At home, as usual, everyone is watching TV, their favorite pastime. Just then, Shukla enters the house, drunk, and slowly walks over to the TV. He turns it off and sits down. Everyone stares at him. Shukla's mother asks, "Have you been drinking?" Shukla replies, "Yes, and I drink every day." His mother begins to yell, "These are the days we should have seen," and insists, "You could have at least looked at your wife, who's been calling you all morning." Shukla replies, "I haven't received a call." Just then, Rupa tells Lakshmi to go and give her some food. Shukla scolds Rupa, saying, "Don't be too bossy here. She's my wife, not your slave." He taunts his sister, saying she's stuck at her parents' house and doesn't even do a single household chore. Shukla rightly shows his sister the mirror, which she did, and in the midst of all this, Shukla's father arrives with water. Shukla, looking at his father, folds his hands before him, pleading, "Prabhu, please say something." The voices were coming from everywhere, calling out for Lakshmi. Bring her food. Put her to bed. Give her water, as if the responsibility for everything in the house had been assigned to her. Shukla, drunk, flatly refuses. Lakshmi won't go anywhere. I'll manage it myself. With that, he strides toward the suitcase, kicks it angrily, then, with folded hands, recites the wedding mantras and, without a word, lies down behind Lakshmi. Silence descends upon the room. The night passes, and Shukla opens his eyes. His mother is sitting in front of him. She doesn't say anything, staring intently at him. But her gaze speaks volumes. Shukla has given his mother and sister a proper earful last night. A little while later, Shukla falters and leaves the room. Outside on the balcony, his silent father stands, doing Surya Namaskar and chanting mantras. This is the only scene in the entire movie where Shukla's father's voice is heard. Then, Shukla's gaze shifts to the shop below, where his sister, dressed in a nightgown, is recharging her phone and then quietly leaves through the back door. Shukla becomes suspicious. He comes down and starts following his sister. Rupa reaches the railway tracks, where slum dwellers often gather. Near the tracks, she speaks to someone on the phone. It's actually her husband, Sunil. It's as if she's remembered him after a long time, or perhaps she's missing him. She's talking to Sunil about household matters, mostly about her complaints. Just then, Shukla arrives from behind, and Rupa, seeing Shukla, hangs up in a panic. Shukla gently asks, "Were you talking to your husband, Sunil?" Rupa says, "Yes. And now, do I have to ask your permission before we even talk?" The bitterness from last night still lingers in her voice. She's still upset with her brother. Shukla asks, "What did I say to you last night?" Rupa replies, "You said a lot. You let out all the venom you had in your heart." Shukla tries to explain, "I was drunk. I must have accidentally slipped something out of my mouth." But Rupa refuses to keep quiet. She pours out all her heartache, about how Sunil and his mother call her barren. How the entire household is dependent on her husband Sunil's income, and how no one wants to work. She says, "I'm just being crushed under this burden. But a woman also has a desire to have a family." Then she says, "You tell me what I should do. I'm tired of talking, and this time when I tried, she slapped me." After finishing the conversation, she sits quietly aside. Silence now falls between the siblings. It's night. Everyone is asleep in their beds except Shukla. He turns over and wakes up to find his sister Rupa still awake. Lying on her bed, perhaps thinking about something. The next morning, Shukla arrives at a welding shop, where he meets Rupa's husband, Sunil. They don't speak, but Sunil understands from their gaze why Shukla has come. Meanwhile, the atmosphere inside the house is a little quiet. Just then, there's a knock on the door. Rupa opens it. Shukla is standing there, and Sunil is with him. Seeing Sunil, the house stirs. Sunil goes straight to Rupa and asks if she's alright. He says simply, "Come home with me, and I'll make everything alright this time." But the silence doesn't last long. Then Rupa's mother interrupts, shouting, "If you're so worried about your wife, why don't you move out?" Sunil remains calm. He only wants to talk to his wife, not his mother-in-law. Still, Sunil says, "My mother will agree. Just give me some time." But Shukla's mother lashes out at Sunil's mother, saying, "She's reduced my daughter to a maid." Sunil, with folded hands, begs Rupa to forgive him, asking her to trust him a little. Shukla's mother continues to nag him, as women in low-income societies often do, and after scolding Sunil, she tells him to get out of here. But Shukla refuses to keep quiet. He interrupts his mother, saying, "If he's admitting his mistake, what's the problem?" He holds his mother up to the challenge, "If you're complaining about Sunil's mother's treatment of your daughter, what are you doing? What's the difference between you and them?" Shukla's mother plays the emotional card, crying and trying to blackmail him, saying, "If you have children, won't you think about them?" But Shukla doesn't back down, retorting, "Rupa isn't a child, Amma. She can make her own decisions. Stop ruining her home." Shukla's mother becomes enraged, "Now you'll talk to me like a vagabond," and then begins to taunt her. "If you're so concerned about your sister, go and see how her family treats her." Shukla replies, "I'll see that later. First, see how you treat Lakshmi." Lakshmi stands quietly in a corner, listening to all this. Perhaps this was the first time someone had spoken up for her. Shukla asks, "Did you ever respect Lakshmi? Did you ever say a loving word to her? She just keeps ordering you around." Shukla's mother starts crying, and the crying is clearly a drama. "From now on, you're not my son, Lakshmi is my daughter." Shukla says, "Well, thank God at least today you accepted her as your daughter." Shukla then asks, "Have you ever thought why we can't just sit together and live peacefully at home? If you ever try to say something, she silences you. Is this the only home you have?" Everyone is silent. Only Shukla's voice echoes through the house. His mother, crying, says, "How do you know how I raised you and Rupa, and today my children are insulting me?" Shukla softens completely. He approaches his mother and says lovingly, "Amma, don't take my words to heart. We should all talk together, not just watch those stupid serials." He says, "If you're okay, then there's no point in talking, and I'm leaving the house with Lakshmi." He gets up and leaves. Rupa follows, carrying her bag, and tells her mother, "I'm going home. Maybe this will be best for us." Shukla's mother sits on the floor, silently watching Lakshmi. Dusk is falling, and Shukla sits alone on the beach. All is quiet, as if there's a desolate silence after a long battle. He might have gone. Maybe Shukla has left his house here. It is night now. Shukla is returning home. Then a man stops him on the way and says, "Brother, please drop me till Boravali. My friend is unwell." Shukla refuses at first because it is quite late in the night. But the man repeatedly requests Shukla to show humanity. "Come sit," and all three of them sit inside. The auto starts moving. But on the way two people start arguing with each other about some doctor. The atmosphere starts getting heated. But Shukla's attention is only on driving. Then the auto is stopped at a deserted place. Before Shukla can understand anything, the three men pounce on him. They scuffle with him and demand he hand over everything he has: money, phone, everything. Shukla tries to defend himself, but the robbers rummage through his pockets. He pleads profusely, but they hit his legs with a rod and try to remove his wedding ring. When the ring doesn't come off, one of the robbers tries to cut off Shukla's finger. But the ring slips off, narrowly missing his finger. Then they beat him severely and leave. Shukla, still injured, somehow gathers himself and takes an auto to head home. Meanwhile, on the balcony of the house, Lakshmi is cleaning the injuries on Shukla's face and crying. Shukla softly asks, "Why are you crying?" Lakshmi, averting her gaze, says, "Nothing." Lakshmi tells him, "I don't know anything about you." Shukla says, "So you know," and she replies, "Even after so many injuries, you're still smiling." For the first time, she leans in and plants a soft, tender kiss on Shukla's cheek, seemingly erasing any distance between them in that moment. A few days later, Shukla and Lakshmi are sitting at their mother's house. Mother brings tea from the kitchen. This time, everyone is sitting in the same place, sipping from the same tray, but no one has a word. And here, on the beach, Shukla and Lakshmi are drinking coconut water together. There's a sense of peace on both their faces, as if they're breathing fresh air for the first time after so many storms. Lakshmi is laughing freely now. Shukla looks at her and smiles. Perhaps this is what he wanted all along. No walls between them now. No complaints. Just a struggle to understand each other, slowly turning into love. This is the story of love and Shukla. So, friends, please tell me how you liked this movie in the comments. And if you like the video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you with another explainer video.